Oh my god! It's the Jose Soto Show! And here's Jose Soto! Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. That was my new assistant, Xavier. Didn't sound anything like me, did it? And I don't know, I did that little voice impersonation because I just remembered today that there was a gay guy that approached me in the middle of the market, in the supermarket, and he plainly just asked me, "Hey, are you on Grindr? Are you on Grindr? Oh my god, you must be on Grindr." I'm like, "What the fuck you're talking about?" Oh, he was serious. He thought I was on Grindr. At first, I thought it was somebody that I kind of known or I met before. Maybe he's a fan of the show or something like that. But no, he was serious. And then while we were trying to figure this out, and I'm trying to kind of back away from this, he said, "Oh, I want to know who you are." And then his phone rang. Started buzzing. I mean, it could have been his vibrator. I don't know, but it was his phone that was buzzing, and he looked at it, and he was on Grindr, and he was looking at the Grindr app right in the middle of the supermarket. I mean, you're fucking in aisle 7. Right next to the rice, right next to the Asian food section, and then you're talking to a stranger who you don't know, and you're asking them if they're on Grindr. Instead of saying hi, how are you, how's your day going, or gee, those potatoes look like shit, or something like that. Casual conversation, normal conversation. That is not happening anymore. And gay guys, I mean, we're being taken over, man. We are being totally taken over by this shit. But here's the thing. I have nothing against Grindr. I have nothing against it personally. I was introduced to it by a friend of mine who wanted me to use it because he was using it. And he was telling me all these stories, how he met all these guys, and he got laid every other night. And then when you go traveling and you do this kind of stuff. But you have to understand who I am. Alright? For me, there has to be a purpose and a reason why I do something. I don't just do it for the fuck's sake of doing it. Okay? There has to be a purpose to this shit. There has to be some order to this madness. And when you're just fucking around with guys and using your phone to look at other guys to find out where they are, I mean, that's, to me, the extreme. It is. I'm sorry, I'm old-fashioned. When I wanted to meet a guy, right, I didn't have to go to the internet. I didn't have to go anywhere else. I met a guy when I was in college. In fact, my first boyfriend was my high school friend. Well, we were friends first, and then we became something more later on. My first boyfriend was Jerry. I remember him. And we met in high school. He was in basketball. He was a basketball player, soccer player, and he was the captain of the soccer team. Very good-looking young guy. And he had issues too. We had issues, but everybody has issues. The thing is that I wasn't even looking for a boyfriend, and it just happened. Now, I know there are guys on there that, they're looking for boyfriends, but when I was hooked up on this Grindr, when somebody paid for it so I can use it, because I don't know how to pay for this shit, excuse me, I can go on Adam for Adam if I really am that desperate to find somebody. I can go on Adam for Adam for free and find somebody, or on Craigslist. And I know people say, "Oh, Craigslist, that's fucking old." Why is everything so old? Why can't things just be like what they are? Right? Like undergarments and underwear, they're not old. Briefs have been used by man for 150 years now. Does that make it now, oh, it's too old, now we have to do something else? There's some things that I think humans still do and still want to do and still have the need to do so, and that is, of course, to find and fish out your mate on your own. When you do it yourself, not some little gadget that you carry around. And I'm sure that's easier. That you get more hookups, you get more cock, and you're in heaven if you do that. But you see, I find value in actually finding somebody. And there are guys who just say, okay, you want to fuck? And I say no, and then they just leave. And when I went on Grindr for the first time, I think it was 2 years ago. And, there was some few guys around my area, like a 5-mile radius. And they all said, are you top, are you bottom? Are you this, are you that? What can you do? Do you suck cock? And I'm here just trying to, it was all kind of titillating and interesting. But I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not an exciting creature. Okay? I'm a very loving person. And when I have a boyfriend, I'm very loyal. I don't go around looking for something else. And I know there are a lot of gay guys who love doing that. And that's your business, fine. Okay, that's your business. But don't come crying to me when shit hits the fan. I met many couples who are on Grindr too. Who, as a couple, like they look for the third guy, fourth guy, fifth guy. How many guys? I don't know. They look for orgies, and they do that. And I'm like thinking to myself, well, what's the point of having a relationship if you're just gonna fuck somewhere else? If you're gonna be with somebody, it's because that person is special. And if you're gonna just be fucking around with other people, he must not be special at all. So. Yeah, and there were guys throwing it, sending me pictures and all that. And yeah, it was interesting. I'm not going to say it did not turn me on. It did for a moment. But then I just started to think about this. And I said, what do I really want is pretty much companionship. And then that's what I want. I don't really want to fuck around. I don't want to go out and catch a disease or do something like that. And I know there are many gay guys who love this kind of lifestyle, who go out every night to the bars. I don't go out every night to the bars. I have things to do. I have a life. So, yes, Grindr has a purpose. And that purpose is to help, supposedly the purpose is to help find you another guy, some cock, some booty for you to bring home. But I know of some guys that use Grindr, and one time I was at lunch with some of my friends, and one of them was on Grindr. He was just grinding away and looking for a piece of ass. And he just, what he says about people, that's why I don't like to use these kinds of services. You know why? Because, call me insecure, maybe if you want to call me insecure, but, people that look at your profile, even if you just have like a simple profile on the internet, you should see what happens when people are on Grindr. They get worse, more critical, more superficial, more antagonistic, more pessimistic too. Because when you are on Grindr, or I don't know what happens when you are on Grindr, you automatically expect something more, like something better than what you used to have, or something better than what we were used to, back in the Stone Age when we had the internet, right? But this friend of mine was like talking shit in front of everybody about the guys that he was looking at on Grindr, talking smack about their profiles. And I do that too. I do that as well. That's why I just caution people. I don't have much to say on Adam for Adam. I have my own profile on Adam for Adam, but I don't post any. I have one picture of myself of my face, and that's it. That's all I have, and I just have, hey, you wanna? I'm looking for friends, and pretty much that's it. But nobody talks to me on Adam for Adam because I'm looking for friends, and everybody else is looking for cock. Because the thing is that I like talking to humans. I like talking to people. I like meeting the person, and if the person is really nice, somehow good looking, yes. But if there's a click, there's chemistry, obviously, yes, we're going to end up in bed and I'm going to get laid. That's how it works. And then maybe I want to do it again and again and again with the same person. Because that person has something special. But if you're just going to post your ass all over the internet, or your cock, and say, oh, I have an 8-inch cock, I have a 10-inch cock, and then I'm going to look at it and it's a 4-inch cock, people tend to laugh at that shit. And I haven't done this for a while. This Adam Ferratum, what I used to do on my old radio show was I go on Adam Ferratum and I would read some of these profiles just to let you know how stupid some of these guys are. The things that you say on these dating websites, on these hookup websites, I mean, it's just so. I'm like, how can you? I mean, this is the reason why you're on the internet, because you couldn't find anybody for real on your own. You needed the help of these systems. You have basically what it is a load jack system, the Grindr app, and then you have all their websites. You cannot find somebody on your own. I do that all the time. Most of my, you see, I had about 5 boyfriends, maybe one more if you include that, but that was about 2 months. That was the shortest one. But, I've had 5 boyfriends. And none of them I met on the internet. Only one of them I met at a gay bar. The others were just people that that just crossed my life, and I don't know, maybe we just gone so far away from being ourselves, from being human, that we need technology. We need this type of service. I don't know. People really want to be touched. I understand that. There are needs. But it's like food. You need to eat. You have to eat some calories so you can have some fuel and energy. You need to drink water, right? But if you overdrink water, you might have health problems. If you overeat, you're going to have a lot of problems too. It's the same thing with looking for guys and looking for a hookup, right? So my take on the whole Grindr thing was that, what? I'm done with it, because all I gotten was guys who don't know how to talk. And that's what happens when you have a machine in front of you and not a real human being, is that you're going to be talking like a machine. I don't know about that. I don't want to have sex with a machine. I want to have sex with a human being. But we are trained that, hey, go on Grindr if you want to look for love. Never mind the guy down the street. It's kind of weird because I heard of a story a while ago about this guy who, for a year straight, he used Grindr every single day and he couldn't get a single hookup. I don't know why he couldn't do it. I guess it's because, I don't know. I mean, he was either ugly, really butt ugly, but I don't think he was. I think I remember the picture, but this was a story. I don't know if it wasn't a blog or something. I read this. I have to look it up. But this guy, I think he refused to post his picture or something. I don't remember, but I guess He didn't want to post his picture. He just posted a picture of his abs or something. I don't know what it was, but he refused to post a picture. And he was on Grindr. He's trying to look for a boyfriend. He's trying to look for love and whatever, for a hookup. And for a year straight, he subscribed to the service. He couldn't find anything. And it didn't take Grindr to help him with that. You know what happened? He found a hookup, or his new boyfriend, next door. The neighbor was a gay boy. And he didn't know that. He never met the neighbors. He was so reclusive that he didn't even met his neighbors that he had around him. And his neighbor right next door was, they had a gay boy. Because he said, oh yeah, there were some old guys living there, these old couple. And it turns out that the old couple has this grandson who was a gay boy. And they were outside, and they just talked, and they ended up hooking up. I mean, people just need to breathe a little bit, open your eyes, get out of the house, all right, and appreciate what you have around you. You may never know that next door you're gonna have a gay boy. You don't need Grindr. You don't need all this shit. All you need is yourself. And be confident. I mean, people that are using these services, I think, lack confidence. This is a way to hook up easily, anonymously, that's what it is. We'll be right back after this short break. Excuse me. Welcome back. And I want to talk about this article here. It's relating to Larry Craig. Remember Larry Craig? Oh yes, that was that Republican senator that was caught in the bathroom, the men's bathroom, trying to get some, Grindr putty. Well, without the Grindr, obviously. That was back in 2007 or 6 or something. I don't remember. But here's the article. Let me go ahead and talk about that for a bit. I mean, if you think that this guy is really in denial, I think it's far more than that. Far more. There are gay guys like Larry Craig, a lot of homos, who enjoy this. How can I call this? There's a term for this. There has to be a term for this. I'll make one up later on. But there are homos out there who enjoy the closet and make the closet their... It's like a turn on for them sexually. What happens is that there are, I don't know if you ever met guys who like to jerk off in the public parks or something and expose themselves. Alright? Yeah, well, you probably met those guys. I don't know. But the reason why they do that is because they want to get away with it. And when they get away with it, when they expose themselves or they videotape it, I seen on these porn tube sites, you see these videos of guys like totally just whacking it in the middle of a bus, of a crowded bus. And nobody's looking, and the guy just whacking away. Why is he doing that? Because it's a turn on for him, doing something that is totally taboo, and getting away with it. That's what happened. I remember seeing one of these videos. Damn. This guy was whacking off at a Chinese restaurant, and the owner was a little Chinese lady. He came out, what are you doing? What are you doing? No. Don't do that. Yeah, I just did it. And he and he blew his load all over the table. I mean, that was fucked up. Yeah, he did it and he just walked away. And the Asian lady was just trying to clean it up. He walked away. why do guys do these things? It's because they are getting high on this. It's a high. That's why Larry Craig was in the men's bathroom, jerking off, getting ready to suck some cock in the glory hole, or get some booty right next door to the next toilet over. And the reason why they hide themselves is because that's part of the game that makes the whole thing sexually exciting for them, is that they play straight, they may even have kids, they play straight, they marry women, they have kids. The woman's probably a lesbian, that's what I'm being told, the wife of Larry Craig. And I don't think any of the kids are his, right? I mean, that's the story. I think that's what they said. And so Larry Craig is in the men's bathroom waiting to get cock, and all of a sudden, instead of getting cock, he got cops. So he got arrested for lewd conduct. He was trying to get it on with an undercover cop. So that's what happened. But you see, many of these supposed straight guys, they're not straight. They're gay who are playing straight, because that role play, it's still it's sexual role play. I mean, they will take it all the way to the extreme of even running for Senate and being a conservative Republican Christian senator from Idaho and play the whole role, play the whole thing, and play everybody, because that's what a sexually depraved person would do. That's what they do. They get off on everybody else being duped. I don't know if you ever seen one of these speeches by Larry Craig in the Senate, but he sometimes were referred to, what did he say? Well, Bill Clinton, I think it was, he referred to, that he was a naughty, naughty boy. That's what he said, he was a naughty, naughty boy. And the way that he said it was creepy. Because this guy is in a world in which he is playing everybody. It's a sexual fantasy that he's playing. The whole thing, the whole senator thing, the whole being a Republican thing, the whole being straight, that's all role playing. And I've seen this elsewhere. I've seen straight couples role playing everything. The whole, they take it to the extremes. I remember of a friend of mine who told me that his brother quit his job because the wife wanted him to be a baby. And this was a sexual thing that they had, a sexual fetish. So he played a baby 24/7. He was a baby. He peed and shitted in the diaper, right? He had toys and everything, and he had a crib, and here comes mommy to breastfeed. Oh boy, little Johnny's excited. But I'm telling you, these people are freaks. They are freaks, and it's okay if you want to do that. But if you're going to become a senator, and you're going to use that pulpit to really get at the gays, because that makes you sexually high, we have a problem there. But here's the excuse, though. All right, he said that he's not gay, he's straight, right? Obviously, that's part of the turn. Well, now he got caught, so now he's, but he still tried to play the role. It's like when you come in and you see your best friend's brother playing a baby. He's not my best friend. He's one of my acquaintances. Let me just reiterate that, because some people get confused. Remember, I have a few best friends, and they say, "Wait a minute, I don't have a brother who sexually role plays a baby." I know, but I have an acquaintance. And of course, his brother is a baby. He dresses up in a bib and a onesie, and wears a diaper every day because mommy likes it too. I mean, they're both into it. But if I go in there and I say, "Hey, you're not a baby. You're fucking 35 years old. Wake up." I ruined his little role play for a moment, and that's what happened to Larry Craig when he got caught at the men's bathroom trying to get a blowjob or something. So here we have, and this is what Larry Craig is saying. I want you to listen to this. Former Republican U.S. Senator Larry Craig aims to fend off a federal election lawsuit against him by arguing his infamous June 11th, 2007 Minneapolis airport bathroom visit that ended in his sex sting arrest was part of his official Senate business. That's right. I was on official business getting my cock sucked by another dude, right? Oh yes, the bathroom was, we're on an official Senate bathroom business. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. God, and people believe this? Of course they do. This is America. People believe in anything. People believe in all this kind of crazy shit. But he's laughing inside of himself. He's saying it's official Senate business. You see, it's part of his sexual role play. You know? It's like if you ask that adult baby, "Hey, why did you shit in the diaper? Why don't you just wear the diaper and go to the bathroom and shit like an adult?" It's part of the role play. Official poopy business. Yeah, I'm just sucking a cock here. Yeah, I'm just sucking a cock. Official Senate business. Oh yeah. Suck that cock. But don't worry, it's official Senate business, right? Nothing to see here, folks. This is just a regular tea bagging party. Yes. This is a tea party where you can tea bag me if you want. So get those little tea bags ready. Line them up on my stool. I don't want to continue. But there you go. It's official potty business. Right? Craig is hoping to avoid repaying $217,000 in campaign funds to the Federal Election Commission, claims he misused to defend himself. The FEC sued Craig in June in U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., alleging he converted the campaign money to personal use by spending it on his legal defense after he was accused of soliciting sex in a Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport bathroom. That's right. The commission argues Craig's defense had no connection to his campaign for federal office. Craig counters that money tied to his airport bathroom trip was for neither personal nor his campaign, but fell under his official reimbursable duties as a senator because he was traveling between Idaho and the nation's capital for work. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. I mean, I thought I heard of crazy shit already. I thought I've been on Adam for Adam. I've been on Grindr. I've been everywhere. I've been to, I think it's now 26 states in this country, which now makes it the majority of the states that I visited in this great republic. And this is probably the most stupidest thing I have ever read this year. And that's saying something, because this year we have seen really truly weird shit. Oh yeah, the gay porn will make you straight theory, right? I mean, we have so many theories, but come on, this is really pathetic. This is so pathetic, and plus, he used $217,000 in campaign money to defend himself. You know, he should have used his own money to defend himself. Yes, I'm gonna use my own money. Or he could have just come out and said he was gay. I mean, he had to quit. He had to resign. Just say, hey, yes, I'm a homo. And I saw cock. I love sucking cock at a public bathroom. Get over it. You know? Yes, I was lying because I was, I was being a typical politician, a typical Republican hypocrite. I mean, that's what I am. Why can't politicians be honest? Oh, yes. They're politicians. That's why. That's why, Jose, they can be honest. You expect an honest politician? What is this? This is fucking America, for crying out loud. We don't have honest politicians. We just have politicians. Okay? Well, we'll be right back after this short break. This is the Jose Soto Show. You're listening to Jose Soto. Alright, now let's update on the Sikh Temple shooting. If you don't know what happened, there was a shooting up in Wisconsin at a Sikh temple, and by a supposedly white supremacist, and that's kind of been verified already. A neo-Nazi went into the temple, shot up bunch of people, and finally was shot and killed by a police officer. He killed 7 people at the temple, and actually 6 people. 7 died, including himself. And I just want to give you an update on what's going on this front. And I'm going to start off. Well, actually, let me just do this here. Yeah, I want to read this article here from the LA Times. This is a very interesting article because just like the Aurora shootings, the Colorado shootings at the Batman movie, there was a lot of weird circumstances, and of course you have Batman involved in this somehow. And you have somebody who basically was like the Riddler. He was into psychoanalysis, just like the Riddler. And he behaved himself just like the Riddler did in the Batman Forever movie, and also in the comics. And of course, you had all these references from other Batman comics about people going to movie theaters, porn movie theaters, and shooting up people. That was one. And of course, we have this gunman. He went into the temple, and there's a few strange circumstances surrounding this incident as well. And I'm not going to try to connect the two, obviously, but it seems to me that both guys, the Colorado shooter and this shooter, were both working for government psychoanalysis programs, or they were involved in them. One of them was a student, and this guy was just I don't know if he was a student or not, but I did read another article which stated that he was involved in those programs for the government. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if it should mean anything, but I guess it can mean something. I don't know. It's like saying, both men are white. Is there something going on with white people? I don't know. I don't think so. But yet, there might be something to this information. We had to look deeper than what we just being told. But here's a news article from the LA Times, and I just want to read this. Federal investigators had looked at Sikh Temple gunman Wade Michael Page. That's his name. More than once because of his associations with right-wing extremists and the possibility that he was providing funding to a domestic terrorist group. But law enforcement officials at the time determined there was not enough evidence of a crime to open an investigation, a senior U.S. law enforcement official said. The official, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to speak to the media, would not say Monday which law enforcement agency had considered investigating Page or when. So he was already being investigated. They already knew about this guy. Somebody up in the FBI or the ATF, one of those two agencies, knew about this guy. Somebody up there knew who he was and knew what he was up to. And you know how the FBI is. The FBI is able to track people. They're able to do a lot of things. They have technologies. And they're able to pinpoint anybody that they find suspicious and know where they're at any time. The FBI has infiltrated all of these neo-Nazi groups, by the way. They infiltrate every neo-Nazi group, every KKK chapter is infiltrated by the FBI. It's well documented. We had an FBI agent who came out a few years ago and he wrote a book about this. They infiltrate these groups and to some extent they even control them. Now, I'm not saying that the KKK is, FBI, totally FBI dominated and controlled. But I'm saying is that the FBI has a sense of what things are happening with these right-wing extremist groups. Right? If you go back all the way to the Oklahoma City bombing, they were tracking Timothy McVeigh. They already knew who that guy was. And then, of course, you have the Unabomber, a mysterious man who, of course, we all know what ended up with that story. But here's a strange fact, though. They know who Page is. Nobody else knew. Before his rampage Sunday at the Sikh Temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, that left him and 6 others dead and 3 critically wounded, Page was known to civil rights groups as a member of 2 racist skinhead bands, and Apathy and Definite Hate. He was also believed to have been a low-level member of a national white supremacist group called the Hammerskins. Racist skinhead bands and record labels have been known by law enforcement to raise money for extremist groups in the U.S. And they know this because they've obviously been infiltrating these people for a long time. And they have malls everywhere. You have FBI malls, you have ATF malls everywhere. That's why one of the malls came out and admitted, because you also have malls in the drug cartels that are there to sort of, not only investigate, but I think to some extent perpetrate what's going on in Mexico. You had the top cartel boss in Sonora come out and said, no, the CIA is behind this. I work for the CIA, he said. That's what he said. He admitted to it. You can Google it yourself. Drug cartel leader admits to working for the CIA. He was a mole. But why is a mole being a leader? That's kind of strange. Now, I'm not saying that the FBI pushed this to happen or the government pushed this to happen. It's not like 9/11. But here we have, of course, a situation where the government had the upper hand and they chose not to act. I thought the government was there to help us. I thought that that's why we have these hate group designations. But, if you're going to let hate groups run amok, what's the point of having these special units in the FBI? And they have these special units that monitor the moles. The moles come in and they report to the special units and they tell them what's going on. And the special units will then refer to the heads of the FBI. And, they will either conduct an internal investigation, not released to the public, and then they will try to figure out what to do with this intel regarding a certain group. If a certain group or members of a group are useful idiots, they probably won't get arrested. They probably will be used for some other things. I mean, that's what I know. You can disagree with me on that, that's fine, but this is what I know, this is what I've been told. And, I've been told by very credible people. No, it's not Alex Jones, okay? Alex Jones can suck my cock for all I care. No, I have real credible sources. That guy's just, he poops in the punch bowl, and that's what he does. Now, what about the Second Amendment? And I know people are talking about this. Second Amendment is going to be, the target's going to be in the middle of the crosshairs. And I don't think it is. I mean, look at Obama. Supposedly he's a liberal and leftist, and he hasn't spoken about gun control. And Bloomberg, the mayor of Bloomberg, who's a big gun grabber, I mean, he is just a little bit because Romney, Mittens, and Obama are not talking about this. They're not talking about gun control. So they're very pissed. He's very pissed. He's trying to figure out why Obama's silent on this. Well, because it's an election year. He doesn't want to piss off the NRA. And now I've seen gay guys, gay activists on Twitter and on Facebook saying, oh, now, this is it. No, we have more deaths. Yeah, but we have deaths everywhere. Just because people die, and I'm not trying to, diminish this death. I mean, it's really tragic what happened. So fucking tragic. It really broke my heart when I read this article. I mean, it really did. Because I have a friend who's a Sikh. He's from India. I haven't talked to him about this, but I'll let him call me. I don't want to call people and ask them what they think about this or anything. They usually call me or email me most of the time. But I do have a friend who's a Sikh, and this is one of the few religions that is not really hateful or like certain other religions like Islam or right-wing reactionary Dixiecrat theology, aka Southern Baptist theology. So, but now we're being told he's a neo-Nazi, and they knew about this. I mean, the information kind of like just flowed out. Yes, we knew about this guy. He's a neo-Nazi. He was a member of this skinhead band and all this and that. We got all the intel now. What were you doing with this intel? I mean, somebody was sitting on it. Or they knew too much. The FBI will not just follow anybody because we like this guy, he's cute or whatever. No. They'll follow somebody because they're either interested in that person is about to commit something. Now you might say, Jose, did that mean that the FBI or the government let him do this massacre? If I say yes, that means there has to be a purpose. There has to be a motive of why you want to do that. And we all know why Bush let 9/11 happen. I mean, you know why Bush ordered the stand down of NORAD. Well, because obviously he wanted to install Homeland Security. He was under orders to install Homeland Security, to install the pat-downs, the TSA, and all this other crap. That was the motive. And also to go into war with in Afghanistan and in Iraq for corporate reasons. Right? They wanted to basically take over the opium trade. That's what's going on right now in Afghanistan. You think we're there because we want to, get at some bad guys, some Talibans and some Al-Qaeders? No, we're there because we're trading opium, folks. Get with it. Learn. You see, I'm getting emails left and right now. So, thing is that you learn. You educate yourself. You do your research, you do your homework, and you know why people do what they do. You learn why this man killed these 6 people and what pushed him to the edge. Racist skinhead bands and record labels have known to law enforcement to raise money for extremist groups in the U.S. Both the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center had tracked Page for several years. I didn't know that. You mean our Southern Poverty Law Center, who declared the Family Research Council and those anti-gay groups as hate groups? I agree with, well, to some extent, I do agree with that designation of some of these groups. But the Southern Poverty Law Center knew about this. How do they know about this? I thought the FBI, because most of the time the FBI will not divulge any information out. Unless, of course, and this is what I've always presumed about the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I'm not really comfortable with those guys either. I mean, just because you criticize the government, not the entire government, I'm not saying that the post office is evil, okay? I'm not saying that the street sweeper is going against me, trying to get at me, and trying to get at my partner or anything like that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are factions within the government that are corrupt. That's what happens when you have a large government like ours. Where you have all these unlimited resources and money. You can do whatever the hell you want. I mean, corruption really is there. It really exists. Stop living in La La Land. You know, I've been saying, Jose, well, why do we get at them? Why don't we, get congressional hearings going on and all this and all this? Well, you're going to have to go all the way to the top. I mean, this can lead all the way to the top. And that's what happened with, with the gun running episode. Fast and Furious. We know what happened with that. We know that the Attorney General was involved and he had his fingerprints all over that. He made sure those guns were imported into Mexico. He made sure of that. And he made sure that the drugs came back this way. That's what happens when you're in a drug war. A lot of complicated connections, a lot of alliances are being made within the government, outside the government. If you want to corrupt people within government, you better get in the inside, corrupt them within the inside, offer them money, offer them pussy, God knows what. Money, pussy, and power. That's what you offer people, especially straight guys. And they say that gay guys, we are dangerous and compromise national security. Come on, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It's straight guys that do all this shit. They get compromised with money, pussy, and power. That's what you give them. Drugs, yeah, that's also a nice little cherry on top. So yeah, this is weird. The FBI knew about this. The Southern Poverty Law Center knew about this guy. And nobody seemed to make a move. Like, everybody was just looking at him, waiting for him to do something. That I find kind of strange. But I don't know what that's supposed to mean. If anything, maybe yes. Maybe they knew he was going to blow up and do something. For what purpose? You know what? I'll leave that up to you. Why don't you talk about this, think about this, and come up with your own conclusion. But it's really fishy. That's all I want to say. Anyway, let's take a short break and we'll be right back. This is the Jose Soto Show. You're listening to Jose Soto. I like my new theme song. Sort of. It's alright, I guess. Somebody else picked it for me and they were like, oh, this will sound good for your show, Jose. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna try to look for another piece of music. And also, we're gonna update our equipment here. I was kicked out of the studio. And, I had some few, disagreements with John, my former producer of this show. And I'm not allowed to record this in his studio. And that's fine. I can set it up on my own. I don't need anybody else's help. And we will continue. And we will move on. Now, the National Organization for Marriage. Oh, yes. They will defend so-called traditional marriage. And I say so-called because they don't even know what they're defending. Now, this, I don't know what is it. This is like a brochure or something. Oh, it's an infographic. An infographic, which shows the biblical definition of marriage. Now, let me see. Let me look at this. Because you know how Dan Cathy, the COO of Chick-fil-A, and it's a miracle we didn't talk about Chick-fil-A today, and I tried to avoid it. I know there were some other things that I could have added today, but I just don't want to go into it right now. Sick and tired talking about Chick-fil-A, alright? But anyway, Chick-fil-A COO, President Dan Cathy, said that, he believes in the biblical definition of marriage. So do other people have said that. So there's this infographic that is being passed around on the internet and is being posted all over the net. And I don't know if I should have the guys over at the Gay Report post this up. It'll be kind of funny. But there are several types of marriages that are sanctioned by the Bible, according to the biblical definition of marriage. You have the nuclear family, which is one man and one woman. Then you have one man, wives, and concubines. And, it goes into detail of what that is. You have Abraham and two concubines. You have Nahor, you have Jacob, you have Eliphaz, Gideon, Caleb. They all were polygamist, and you have the famous one, Solomon, who had 300 wives. Then you have man, woman, plus woman's property. You didn't know that? As in Genesis chapter 16, man could acquire his wife's property, including her slaves. I didn't know women had slaves back then. So basically what you did is that you married the woman and her slaves. Man, woman, woman, and woman. This is polygyny. So you have one man and another woman, and then another woman, and then another woman. Okay. Then you have man and brother's widow, and which is called liberate marriage. A widow. And this is based on Genesis verse, what is this? Okay, chapter 38, verse 6 through 10. A widow who had not borne a son required to marry her brother-in-law must also submit sexually to her new husband. Rapist plus his victim, that's Deuteronomy 22, chapter 22. Verse 28 through 29, you have a virgin who is raped must marry her rapist. That's in the Bible. And you have a male soldier plus a prisoner of war. And that's Numbers chapter 31, verse 1 through 18, and Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 11 through 14. Under Moses' command, Israelites kill every man, woman, and child, save for the virgin girls who are taken as spoils of war. Wives must submit sexually to their new owners. Then you have the male slave plus a female slave. That's also in Exodus chapter 21, verse 4. Now, the National Organization for Marriage, they came out, or one of their doo-doo heads came out and defended this. Can you believe this? Well, I can. Because I know what these people are about. They don't care what they say as long as what they say sounds good to them. What it is that whatever gay people are posting out there, for our own likeness and for our own, ha-ha-has, like this infographic, a lot of people who oppose gay marriage, like the Ruth Institute and the NOM. Well, they're all basically funded by the same people. Robert George, who is a globalist, a patsy for Peter Thiel, who is a huge operative for the Bilderberg Group and the fascist establishment of Wall Street. You have NOM defending this biblical marriage. I'm just going to read the article here. I have it right here. It's pretty funny. I mean, it's pathetic, but it's funny. This is how they view things. They think that they're debating us. They think they are winning this debate. And just by talking to themselves and running this type of logic and thinking to themselves they beat us, really it just looks pathetic. Really it's just too funny for me to not talk about it. Defenders of Chick-fil-A's anti-equality positions have argued that the company simply believes in the biblical definition of marriage. An infographic has been circulating the web demonstrating the actual biblical definitions of marriage, including a man and his wife and his concubines, and etc. We already went through each one of them. The National Organization for Marriage's Ruth Institute responded to the infographic on Facebook and on its blog today, arguing that it actually supports conservatives' case against same-sex marriage. This is what they said, okay? Quote, "This image has been making the rounds on Facebook in an attempt to discredit those of us who insist that removing the gender requirement is redefining marriage. Look carefully at the image and you'll see that all of the examples, both genders are represented. This image reinforces the conservative position about needing a gender requirement. It does not undermine our position." All right. Well, here's the thing. Your position... No, it doesn't undermine your position against gay marriage. I agree with that. But it does undermine some of your supporters who argue about this biblical thing. It has nothing to do about the Bible, because now if you bring it up, then we have to bring up everything within the Bible. Because the Bible is the Word of God, and everything in the Bible is inspired by God. So God never made a mistake in the Bible. Let's just admit to that. Believe me, I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I know what I'm talking about. Bible is truth. Bible is truth, and truth is light. The God, Yahweh, Jehovah has spoken in the Bible, and you cannot deny His word. So when I have Jehovah's Witnesses over and they talk about Leviticus and they talk about how God says we must execute gay people, they say, okay, fine, I'll give you some stones and you can stone me to death in front of my house. How about that? But you think I'm going to let you? No way, Jose, because I'm packing myself too. Not with stones, obviously. I do have some weapons here and there. So, I mean, yeah, but this infographic is just showing us, what, I mean, conservatives are saying, we shouldn't have gay marriage because then we're going to have polygamy marriage. And they're saying it's redefining marriage. Yes, but marriage has always been redefined. Because certain customs are not useful anymore or basically desirable. Throughout human history, heterosexuals have always desired each other exclusively in a monogamous relationship. But sometimes you have these circumstances in which you had polygamy, you had child marriage. Forgot about child marriage. Right? You had Muhammad, who was the founder of Islam, he getting married to a 9-year-old little girl. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. But don't you dare get married to an adult. Don't you dare do that. But the reason why they don't want gay people to get married has nothing to do with biblical principles. It has all to do, and I always keep saying this, with the fact that they want to deny gay people the right to consent. They want to deny gay people the right to fight in court. I said this is about the Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment is a very crucial amendment for this debate because you're denying gay people their right to go to court and protect their economic rights. Because what you call a marriage, whatever you want to call it, I don't know what it is. You could call it marriage, and it's for thousands of years we've been calling this marriage. But now in the law, marriage is now permeated everywhere else because, like I said in the other episode, and I keep repeating this, and one day I'll talk about this more in depth, about maritime admiralty law, corporate law, banking law. And this is where marriage laws come from. And the marriage laws are permeated everywhere. Everywhere you step on. Anything you sign has a marriage implication. Don't tell me that, oh, well, gay people, all they need is a power of attorney. It's not that easy. And I already said the power of attorneys can be shredded to pieces. Can be shredded to pieces by a judge. Judge can do that. It's legal. A judge doesn't have to abide by a contract. It doesn't. Judges can have their own interpretation of a contract, or they can just say, yes, this contract was signed under false pretenses. That can basically annul a contract. Just because you sign a contract doesn't mean it's legal. And I learned that the hard way, and many people have already learned that when you go to civil court, judges will always make up new things as they go along, based on supposed precedent. That's what happens. Anyway, I am digressing from this subject matter, but the thing is that in the Bible, you had all these, rules and things that just didn't really make sense. You couldn't eat shellfish. You couldn't have two types of fabric. Maybe back then it made sense because of the place that they were, the time that all this took place. Back then it probably made sense. It probably made sense for a gay guy who back then to just marry a woman and have kids, because back then, there was a lot of wars, like today. But also, you had a lot of death, you had a lot of famine, you had a lot of illness, and you had, of course, to continue to procreate. But now, since now we're not under that obligation, we have science, we have technology, we have medicine, we are able to keep ourselves alive. We can now be true to ourselves. I mean, that's all it is. If people want to lie, to themselves, and they want to lie to their wives and get married and do all that, that's their business. But it's all going to blow back on their face, and it does. I mean, I've seen gay guys getting married to women because they want to satisfy mom or dad or something like that. But they're never going to be satisfied with themselves. And every time they pound that pussy, every night they're going to think about it. It's really hard. Maybe you might like be pounding the pussy for 45 seconds or a minute, because that's how much you're going to last. Because you don't care about the woman. You see, a completely heterosexual man would enjoy a pussy and would do whatever he can to enjoy it as well. Prolong the intercourse and all that. But I've seen many of these gay guys, these ex-gays, going through hell. Also satisfy a 2,000-year-old theology based on ancient religious sects who all worshipped, of course, reproduction, the penis, the vagina. And that's why, in ancient Egypt and ancient Babylon, you have all these obelisks. That's why the Vatican has an obelisk, because it's a worship of the penis, worship of reproduction, and all that. So, I'm not surprised by why the Vatican is so anti-gay. I mean, the Vatican, all of its theology comes straight from Samaria and ancient Babylon. That's where it comes. It has nothing to do with Christ. It has nothing to do with Jesus. Let's get that straight. Okay? So, biblical definition of marriage, polygamy, rape, all this bullshit, defended by Nam. And you wonder why we criticize Nam a lot? Here you go. Anyway, let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Alright, now, I don't know if you noticed this, but I've been noticing this. A lot of these anti-gay extremists are just getting wackier. They're getting more extreme, stupider, yes. But also, have you noticed there's been more and more reports of anti-gay hate crimes? And I mean, just today we got a report, and it's up on the gayreport.net, that this gay man was beaten up by 3 guys. Yeah, they look very tough. Yeah, 3 against 1. How about 1 against 1, asshole? Fucking pricks. Anyway, they beat this guy up because he goes to a bar and he just, he goes in there and he asks if there's any gay bars around. Obviously, if you're a gay man, you're not going to go to a straight bar unless you want to be there. You're okay with that. But of course, what happens is you're basically in red country. This is conservative land, and what happens is that in conservative land, they beat your ass up for asking that kind of question. You don't come here and feminize me with that shit. That's what happened. So obviously the guy was beaten up, and he has bruises all over. He was beaten to a pulp. All because he asked where was the nearest gay bar. Should have gotten Grindr, man. Should have gotten Grindr. Should have gone. This is Montana, right? I thought it was Idaho. I was thinking about he could have just hooked up with Larry Craig and find the nearest public bathroom. That's where you can get some action there. But this is ridiculous. Why are these events getting more frequent, and they're getting louder, and they're getting more violent? That's what's happening. And I thought this was just in the urban areas. Urban areas, yeah, you have more people. Obviously, the incidence of hate crime will automatically increase because of the population. But now we're seeing this going on in rural areas, in Montana, in Oklahoma, in Missouri. Missouri. That's how you pronounce it, right? Missouri. But look at what happened. I mean, we had this gay guy being up to a pulp. We have a gay guy's car being firebombed, with written with the words "fag" all over it. And then you have, of course, a lesbian in Missouri being beaten by 4 kids. I mean, what the hell's going on in this society? What the hell's going on? Is there something in the water? Is the Chick-fil-A oil that they use for deep frying, is that leaking out into the water? I mean, what's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. This whole debate about gay rights is, in fact, boiling hot. It's boiling over. And we are witnessing, of course, the water hitting the fire. That's what's going on. But I'm telling you this, and we predicted this. I went on the gayreport.net. You can go on that site. In fact, I'm going to try to see if I can repost that on my blog. But me and my former editors of the gayreport.net, we wrote a nice little piece about how anti-gay rhetoric is going to get louder, crazier. Yeah, I mean, it's getting crazy by the minute. Every day you're going to have some wacko come out there and say the most stupidest shit, and say it in a violent way. I mean, we're not just talking about, okay, homosexuality is an abomination. Now we're saying homosexuals should be thrown in prison. We should throw them into an electrified fence. Right? We should throw them into a concentration camp. You have all these crazy pastors and crazy ministers saying all this shit. What's going on? It's because they're getting desperate. That's what's going on. They know that they're losing. The majority of the American public is on our side, and we don't want to lose them, because if we do, then it's game over. But that's why I urge people not to get crazy like them, not to get crazy at them. Let me get crazy. I can get crazy, but I'm not doing it for any cause. I'm doing it because I'm not saying that I'm crazy like them. I'm just saying I expose their craziness. Okay? And yeah, I mean, I just say whatever I want. It's not because I want to, support a cause or anything. I mean, I support it in my private time. But here, we are seeing something really strange. And I think that it has to do a lot with the fact that there are many people out there, like the Alex Jones type, who, yes, there are problems, there are issues, and there are controllers out there who are truly trying to do something, trying to take over the world. I mean, yeah, that's always been a motive for empires and emperors and kings and queens since the dawn of age, that they want to take over the world, take over the face of the planet. I mean, the Soviets tried to do that. We Americans are trying to do that. But now you also have individuals doing it. You have families doing it. You have bankers and you have corporatists trying to, impose this so-called New World Order. What happens is that people, they don't know how to react to this. So they will obviously lash out at something that is easily targeted, like gay people, the gay community. And now you have Alex Jones and some people like him, Joseph Farah, who goes on the Alex Jones show a lot now. Then you have punk rock Christians like, what's his face, Bradley Dean. Remember that guy tried to sue Rachel Maddow because she pointed out that he thought that the Muslims that were executing gays were more holier than Christians? Come on. His lawsuit was thrown out. Justly thrown out. But you have all these freaks coming out and just pounding the airwaves and pounding people with his anti-gay rhetoric. And you have Brian Fisher, all these freaks doing the same thing. And they're making it look like it's the end of the world. Like, if we allow gay people to assert their and protect their economic rights, and to protect their, what we call marriage, corporations, whatever, okay, under the law, the court recognizes a marriage as a corporation and nothing else. But let's just say marriages. Oh, so we want to protect gay people's marriage. That's the end of the world. That's the end of the world for these people. That's why they think that Satan is coming, man. They think that, and that's what Alex Jones thinks. That's what I've been told. And that's why I bashed him the other day on the show. Because I've been told from the inside what he thinks. I don't want to talk about that. That's his own personal views. But those personal views are now, penetrating what I thought was, okay, an alternative news site, alternative news radio. He's talking about things that nobody else is talking about. But even with that, you still have all the craziness going on. You have all the people. Yes, the government is involved in crazy shit. But it doesn't mean that we have to be crazy like them. That's what I don't get about this Alex Jones or anybody else. That's what I don't get. Yes, there's a lot of crazy shit going on. And I seen this crazy shit. I read reports of these ambassadors and UN workers involved in child sex rings. Yes, I read that. Some of them have been reported and they have been, they're facing justice. Some of them are not because they're protected. That's where we need to go, is to elevate ourselves civilly to be able to attack this corruption that we are witnessing and to educate the public on the corruption. We don't need to start selling survival seeds or going off base and yelling and screaming and then saying that because gay people are existing, that it's the end of the world and it's doomsday. Just like what Joseph Farah from World Nut Daily, who visits the Alex Jones show and other radio shows and right-wing shows, he goes in there and he says, yes, gay people are causing the end of the world. So what do you think is going to happen to an inbred motherfucker who has no brainwave capacity, has a shotgun, has an AK-47, and, he says, you know what, he's right. These fuckers these faggots are taking over the world, and they're going to do that. They're going to, probably rape us and rape our children. Believe me, I have seen this happening many times, where homophobes will they will click. Their mental thoughts immediately become about destroying gay people, and they basically warped out of reality and into this fantasy land where gay people are basically the enemies. It's like playing a game. It's like when the Colorado shooter, that's that's what happened to him. He was so brainwashed. I mean, he was brainwashed. He had the meds and he had everything else. He was a psychiatrist major. He was trying to get his PhD in psychiatry. And, of course, he knew what was going on. He submitted himself to this brainwashing. And that's what happens. And Alex Jones is involved in brainwashing. You repeat the same thing over and over and over again. Everybody else is doing this. Rush Limbaugh is doing this. They know what's going on. They know how to brainwash their audiences into believing all this crap and blaming it on gays. I mean, just the other day, I was on the Alex Jones... Actually, today... one of my editors was on the InfoWars website, and then there was a news article about Chick-fil-A, and I said, oh, God, no. Oh, great. And then you see all these people on that article writing these comments saying, faggot this, faggot that, we should kill them, we should do all this. And then Alex, he comes out and says, don't blame me if something happens. Well, don't encourage people to I mean, I don't know why you have people like that listening to you. If I had people like that listening to this show, I would just shut down. I mean, how can you go to sleep at night like this? Knowing that you have people who want to hurt others. I don't know. But I'm telling you, the paleo conservatives, the Dixiecrats are out in force. They don't want to kill gay people. They want to have others doing it, and it's gonna get violent. I am betting my money on this. It's gonna get violent. And right now we have gay people's cars being firebombed. We have them anti-gay slurs being carved on their bodies. We have all this going on, right? But it's escalating, little by little, step by step, gradually. You know why they're doing it gradually? Because so that way it's not like a shock to us gays. But once the big one hits, once somebody goes psycho on a gay center, that's gonna hit everybody. You know, because that's another thing I've been noticing is that gay people kind of that's what happens. You know, yeah, your car got bombed. Well, that's what happens because you're gay. You know, you know. Then you have a little rally, maybe, right? You go on Facebook and you have people liking you and supporting you on Facebook. Okay, blah blah blah. But the thing is that why is this escalating? Nobody has ever been asking that. Why isn't this being diffused? And I don't know. I don't know who's really behind this. I mean, you can say it's Alex Jones. You can say it's a radio talk show host, conservative talk shows. It could be, Joseph Farah. It could be all these people. But the other thing is that, like I said earlier about that guy who shut up the Sikh Temple, Southern Poverty Law Center was already monitoring him. Southern Poverty Law Center right now, that I know, they are monitoring some anti-gay hate groups, more extremist. I think what is it, Mass Resistance from Massachusetts. You know what? Just keep an eye on those guys. Keep an eye on those guys because somewhere in the Northeast, something's gonna happen. I bet my money on this. one of those guys is gonna basically go psycho. He's gonna pop. I mean, yeah, we're gonna see a bunch of dead queens. That's what's gonna happen. And I don't know, and what's the motive behind this? Is there a government thing behind this? Is the government encouraging this? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. That could be a theory worth looking at, but I have to look at it. I have to see if that's true or not. I mean, some people have suggested that to me, that maybe there might be something to this, that they are encouraging a lot of hatred. The Southern Poverty Law Center, the FBI, the ATF, they come down, they infiltrate these groups, and then they encourage more hate. They encourage these people to say, yeah, it's the end of the world if we don't stop these queers. And you get that, and you get what happened in Wisconsin and Colorado. And that happens. That's going to happen one of these days in the community if we're not vigilant about this. But I'm not here to, fearmonger. And that's what the other side is doing. They fearmonger all day. It's fear porn. That's what the Alex Jones, the Brian Fishers, the Joseph Faras, the Tony Perkinses, that's what they sell you. Fear porn. And you get off on it, right? Just like real porn. That's what it is. But I'm here to protect people. Hopefully we will never have this, but I'm betting my money that's going to happen. Okay, we come to the end of our show. We'll see you tomorrow. This is the Jose Soto Show. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Jose Soto. Good night.